Welcome back, Kevin. This is our second conversation. For those who aren't familiar, I'm Ryan. I run Ebike Escape, which is a website and YouTube channel dedicated to electric bikes and electric bike accessories. And today we're talking with Kevin Duggar, the owner of and Ride1Up is known for their value-priced electric bikes starting at $995, going all the way up to $1795. Anything I missed there, Kevin?
No, that's correct. Thanks for hosting us again, Ryan. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I look
So
forward to it.
this conversation is going to be slightly different. Rather than just talk about Ride1Up, which we're certainly going to cover some of the things, but we're going to talk about current events in the e-bike industry more broadly as well. And then I'm going to talk with Kevin a little bit on his perspective on different e-bike brands. And then hopefully we'll get to some recommendations as far as perhaps if you're looking to purchase an electric bike, some of the things you might want to think about. And I think it's very unique to get, someone who runs an e-bike company to give us their perspective. So looking forward to jumping in.
Awesome. Look forward to it.
So I guess to start, current event wise, so I think we last recorded our conversation in June, and I feel like we're very much in the middle of craziness with the bike industry overall, supply chain, electric bikes are in, whether they're in stock or not. And things have calmed down for some companies, it seems. But do you think things will continue to calm down as far as back-ordered bikes? I know a number of your models, if not maybe all of them, are in stock. And how do you look at into 2021 as you think about electric bikes in stock and planning for the future?
Yeah, and this is important for other companies and not just us, but I think all e-bike companies and bike companies are going to struggle for 2021 because, it's all parts across the industry. Shimano parts are now booked out 8 months, or Shimano is as late as like fall, or depending on which component you need, fall or winter 2021. So if you wanted a specific Shimano group set or whatever it is that you wanted for your bikes, you could wait up to a year for these to get them produced. So that's going to delay everybody's orders, and it has. And so now, as we're producing things, instead of it taking us 2-3 months to produce any given model, it takes us 5 to 8 months. So everybody's had to guess what they want 7-8 months from now and guess how busy they'll be, and it's a much harder guessing game. And obviously, our changes will take longer to implement too. One little thing, for example, where we are, actually, I shouldn't say too much, because anytime we note a little tiny change, some people will not want they will not want the bike unless it includes that change, even if it's as small as tape over the chainstay, that you could add for a few bucks. I'm hesitant to notify that anything will be changed in the future, but it takes about 7-8 months right now. And so I think, come spring, when people are buying bikes again, because this is kind of the off season for bikes, e-bikes, all kind of outdoor activities. Come spring, it's going to be really tricky for people to stay up on their inventory. So a lot of people, depending on how quickly in the fall and summer they got in their production quantities, their production numbers, they may very well be struggling to keep up inventory this spring. So right now through the winter, I'm sure it's going to be looking good. It looks like there's plenty of inventory. These models are all available. There may even be good Black Friday sales, but come spring, it's going to be a lot harder, just like we saw last spring. But of course, last spring was boosted by these massive COVID numbers with everything changing. But I assume that's not really going to change all that much in terms of people not wanting to take public transit and the bus and everything else, because I don't think the mindset's going to change right away. In terms of social distancing and how people live. So yeah, I see this spring being a kind of tricky time to try to get whatever bike model it is you want. Some of course will be available, but you won't have free selection.
Yeah, and I think it's just worth highlighting for those who aren't as familiar with bikes just generally. So a lot of these electric bikes will share different components. And so basically you have all these established electric bike companies as well as new ones, potentially all competing for the exact same derailleur, for instance. And so from your perspective, are those are the main hangups, as opposed to like getting some of the motors you use, or the frames, or those sort of things?
Yeah, it can be derailleurs, tires,
Yeah.
all sorts of components. I mean, it's not just Shimano, it's Tektro, it's you name it, the shocks, rock shocks. We do have a new model coming out that I was going to kind of try to inform you about. I can only say so much again because we have to solidify these partnerships. It is going to be a mid-drive, and it's going to be it would be our highest end model, but we do need to solidify the partnerships first and have things signed before I can say anything really publicly. But so yeah, I unfortunately don't have too much I can share about that new model. But it's not just Shimano, it's not just derailleurs. It can be a lot of things. Obviously, if we're our frame suppliers, where we're making our frames, are not as delayed as a company that's supplying for they're supplying tires for more people. So Schwalbe, for example, or Schwalbe, or however you want to say it, they're supplying for so many different bike companies, e-bike, non-e-bike, throughout the industry. So they're more backed up than our specific frame supplier.
Okay, so, and then, I mean, do you expect that you'll get to a point where you're not going to have to go through this back order business, or like, are you ramping up so much? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure everybody will, but it's still like that slow adaptation to the new COVID climate and also the growth of e-bikes in general. But I think so much of it is just that COVID-related demand shift, where bike parts across the board, non-e-bike, regular bike parts, are just so much more in demand than they were, that it's you can catch up temporarily, but the like every little funnel has been running, it's running dry, so to speak. Each supply chain is just running dry, so it's difficult to to get ahead on that, since everybody's placing just way more orders than these factories can handle.
Yeah, and then, I mean, for people new to electric bikes, or perhaps only started looking into electric bikes in 2020, it's worth noting that there was a time when you could go to these various brands' websites and actually order a bike and expect it,
Right
within
away,
the next 2 weeks. Like, this is not normal, and eventually, everyone's going to get some of these supply chains figured out, but not everyone. I mean.
And right now, though, it is the case that right now a lot of people have inventory. It's more of a warning, I guess, for this spring. I would expect a very similar situation to occur.
Yeah, order early if you're looking for spring electric bike, for sure.
I wanted to give a disclaimer real quick on shipping companies lately during COVID. I don't know if that can wait till the end if it's better, but just out of frustration of dealing with all the different shipping options lately, it's kind of, most people understand the situation, but sometimes it's hard. And I know every single company is dealing with this and putting their notes on their website, like, hey, FedEx, UPS, freight companies, GSO, or whoever the freight company is, they're not normally this bad and this slow. We're just, this is an odd time. The disclaimer I just wanted to share is that so many of these companies are having a hard time finding good employment, and their demand peaked. I mean, it spiked. As soon as you saw in the stock market, as soon as COVID hit, Amazon and everybody else, I mean, their stocks just shot up. And obviously, all these e-commerce companies are shipping way more than before. So FedEx, UPS, and everybody else are dealing with so many more deliveries, and at the same time having more trouble staffing in some locations. So not only are people just not showing up because they were getting unemployment checks that beat what their salary were, they're just like, it's hard for those companies to then keep up. So there were plenty of FedEx and UPS hubs that wouldn't, your package would sit for 5 days, a week, no tracking updates, and people would be upset naturally, but there isn't a whole lot that e-commerce companies can control with them. Maybe Amazon has more luxury, although I'm sure this happened with Amazon shipments as well. But in that they kind of control more of their delivery process. Yeah, it's a difficult time to expect the standard delivery windows because it's just a little bit more unpredictable. Of course, there's plenty of people that have reported, oh, I got it in 3 days, 5 days, the normal amount of time. It went to the East Coast, I got it in a week. But it's just more unpredictable than normal, and there isn't I don't see that changing, especially over the holidays. I don't know, there isn't a great solution. Freight companies maybe are handling it a little bit better because they're on a smaller scale. Just a disclaimer that if we could do anything to fix the shipping situation, we definitely would. But it's a little out of our hands once it gets to UPS and FedEx or whoever that be. Obviously we can't ship our bikes with USPS because it's above their size restrictions. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough for those companies especially. But I wish they were able to hire properly.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like if bikes get in stock, and they're available to ship, some of those frustrations might go away. I mean, there's people with some companies that were ordering, June, July, and they don't even have their e-bike, and that's probably related to a multitude of things. But if there's a delay in shipping, like that can only go on for so long. Definitely frustrating. But at the end of the day, we're still very much the pandemic's still here, and people want e-bikes, and shipping stuff is just crazy right now. So
yeah, definitely.
Good to point out though.